Greetings, friends. Originally, I was going to title this video, There's Nothing Funny About Horror. But then I thought it would be titled, Why I'm Not a Fundamentalist Regarding Halloween. Why I think there's some nuance in understanding Halloween. So those two topics are kind of going to go together in this video. I was walking through High Park North, which is a neighborhood in Toronto, getting close to downtown. It's a residential area of originally working class homes, red brick, 3-story or more structures, the sort of architecture you wouldn't see anymore. But they've now become upper middle class housing for families with children, many whites, of course. If you'd see more white people in the city, this is where you would find it. They've got High Park, which is an enormous park nearby, so it's prime real estate in the city. I handed out some, or not handed out, I went to mailboxes in that neighborhood a few years ago, dropping off pamphlets which were obviously drawing attention to the negative impacts of the jab. Needless to say, I was not well received by the few people I ran into in that neighborhood. I felt like the whole neighborhood was cursed. If you know Toronto, perhaps you have an idea. I also, by the way, this is just for people who live in Toronto, I feel that Dundas Street is also cursed. I mean particularly the junction. It's like there's a heavy cloud that hangs over, a spiritual cloud that hangs over and infests every establishment and every business along that whole stretch. I've never had good luck, not with a bike shop, not with a bar, not with a restaurant, not with trying to sell my old guitar to a music shop, not with the vibe of the people. But I don't mean to digress too much from the video, but I'm trying to describe the scenario in which, walking through High Park North the other day, I saw a plethora of Halloween decorations, more Halloween decorations than you would normally see in the city. These decorations were over the top. They don't have big yards there. That's the thing. These houses are still in the city. It's not like a real suburban setup where you have a lot of space and trees. They have small gardens, but they make use of the space they have and deck it with not just cobwebs, little skeletons, but very graphic stuff, dark stuff, disturbing stuff, severed hands, limbs. The most disturbing thing I saw was body bags, like the figures of bodies hanging upside down from a tree, several of them. It looked like something out of a horror movie, something out of a scene where some murderer is disposing of victims. And it's just completely dehumanizing. Whenever I saw this sort of thing in a horror movie, which I never really watched before this reason, but my whole life, it always made me sick. I remember there was this movie called Grindhouse with Quentin Tarantino directing it. I saw it with some people I knew from work, and I just thought that was really evil, what they were depicting there, because all it is about mocking the human form and destroying it and slaughtering it gratuitously for no other reason than to almost inspire laughter, like a demonic kind of rejoicing at mocking the human body and killing. This is the same imagery that I'm seeing here on the streets. What kind of a fucked up person would do that? Especially if they have kids. I'm assuming that most of the people who put up decorations are households that have families. Maybe not always, but that's generally the demographic there. So how fucked up is it for you to have that in front of your kids, and then other kids in the neighborhood are going to walk by and see that? They've already seen severed hands, demonic rat-like creatures with light coming out of their eyes. They've seen that, then they see these like body bags hanging from a tree. It's the darkest, most disturbing thing. What would you tell your kid if they ask you what that is? What are you going to say to them? Like, what would you say to a 7-year-old who asks you what that is? So my point is that Halloween obviously has become completely demonic. It's really messed up. You're not going to see nativity scenes in High Park North on the lawns come Christmas time. I guarantee it. I would be highly surprised if you could even find one. When Christmas time comes, I'm sure they'll have lots of Christmas lights and maybe Santas and stuff like that, which I'm okay with. But will they have anything explicitly religious? Because that's sort of 20th century commercial Christmas. That's not really the old traditional religious Christmas, the Christian occasion. So people who would put up nativity scenes or any other sort of expression of the Christian faith, that would be something you could recognize as religious in public or in the private sphere, but for the public to see. I don't think you're going to see that in High Park North. You wouldn't really see that anywhere today. But I'm making the point. It's true. The demonic has become popular. People have embraced it. And you see that in Halloween. Now, as I was walking further, I saw other decorations which were, in my opinion, fine. Just some cartoonish looking ghosts and some little like inflatable goblins drawn in a very style for children. That's sort of the sort of stuff I remembered as a kid. I have good memories of Halloween as a kid. It was just a time where kids get to dress up in costumes, go out at night, under supervision of course, and have fun. And go around and get candy and carve jack-o'-lanterns and put candles in them. It's kind of cool. On what other occasions would you be doing something like that during the year? It's a special time of the year. The seasons are changing, so everyone can sense that something is changing quickly at Halloween. The summer is now finally dead. The leaves are falling, and the winter's coming. Fast. The light is getting darker and shorter. It's not problematic to have folk festivals at this time of the year. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. There was All Saints' Day, which is a Christian foundation to Halloween, which admittedly is no longer relevant for however many centuries. But there is an argument you could make that there is a Christian precedent for Halloween. Of course, that's long gone, and Halloween is more of a North American phenomenon now, although it has become popular outside of North America. But there's nothing inherently wrong with the idea of kids getting to dress up and even see pictures of ghosts and goblins to a certain degree without making it disturbing, without going into pure horror. I think you can strike a balance there. You don't have to be a Puritan. You don't have to be a dour isolationist and not participate in every single aspect of the culture. Yes, the culture is obviously very degenerate. There's many things we have to protect ourselves from today. But are you going to completely withdraw from every single cultural attribute? It is part of our heritage, at least going back many, many generations, just like Christmas. And I think a lot of the people who will shun Halloween, they will also shun Christmas. They won't even celebrate Christmas. No, not all people, but some. I do find that there's this fundamentalist attitude even amongst Orthodox and amongst non-denominational Protestants, for lack of a better word. It's that same sort of attitude, well, Halloween's simply demonic, you can't participate in it, therefore. But I can't be that extreme because I know that that's not the full picture. You can let kids go out, the kids get to have fun, they get to eat candy, and then people will say, oh, well, it's bad eating candy. But that depends on how the kids are raised. If you have one day of excess per year, they get to look forward to that. They'll have good memories. They're hunting for candy. You want to take that fun away from them? That's what's going to end up happening. Yes, you have to exercise control. You have to exercise care these days with these sort of things. It's unfortunate. Maybe it is not worth it to engage in Halloween, depending on your circumstances and your neighborhood. Maybe. But I'm just saying you can't make this blanket dismissal of Halloween 100%. Don't ever let your kids participate in that, no matter where you live, what your context is. No, it's 100% demonic. Just absolutely take the Puritan attitude and just dismiss it. I don't think that's fair either. I don't think that's fully perceptive of the significance of this occasion. Someone asked Father Peter Heers, an Orthodox priest who's on YouTube engaging with people regularly. He live streams. He has very good content. And they asked him this question about participating in Halloween as Orthodox. And I didn't disagree with everything he said. I just don't think he provided the full picture. He was just sort of responding to a question. He gave it a few minutes. So it's not like he prepared a lecture on this topic. But he was, of course, saying sort of what I would characterize as more of the strict or rigid view. Like it's not an Orthodox occasion. Maybe All Saints' Day was, but not the modern Halloween. So someone who's brought up Orthodox would have no reason to participate in it. And that's true, but that's not the context that we in North America grew up in. Does that mean we throw away everything from the past? Should we not celebrate Thanksgiving either? Because Thanksgiving's not Orthodox. No, I don't think Thanksgiving is demonic, but it's not even explicitly a religious holiday. But I do think there's something special about Thanksgiving, and it's not explicitly an Orthodox occasion. Father Peter Heers basically said some of the things that I've already gone over. Don't expose yourself to this, and candy excess is bad, and monsters and all this stuff. And of course, I've already acknowledged that, yes, it has gotten very bad, very bad. There is an occult dimension going on as more and more people practice that these days. However, I still think they're missing something if you're going to completely cut off this occasion from your life and totally not participate in it. So hear me out. Because I'm reading through the comments, and some people are saying, yeah, like we won't leave the light on for these trick-or-treaters. Some lady was saying that she goes up to bed, and if anyone knocks on the door, her husband answers and tells the trick-or-treaters that we don't celebrate evil and horror. So I bet they'd feel all righteous for doing that. Don't you feel all like righteous that you told those kids the truth about Halloween? You did a good thing. Those kids left your house knowing the truth about Halloween. They didn't get any candy. Their expectations were kind of deflated, but they learned something and it'll stick with them. That's the right example to set for kids in the neighborhood. You turn that light off and you don't even answer the door. You're not participating. You may as well isolate yourself. I would ask this lady, like, do you think the kids are at your door because they want to celebrate horror and celebrate evil? Do you think they actually believe that? No, they're having fun. They want to get candy. You could maybe play along. Maybe you could even put a pumpkin there. Look, you think Halloween's 100% demonic? Okay. Can you just put a pumpkin there? How about that? I'm just saying, look, I don't have this either, but I'm just saying if you have a house, I don't live in a house, and you're in that sort of neighborhood where that thing happens, at least you could leave a pumpkin there. And fine, you don't want to answer the door, leave some potato chips or whatever. And I know people say, well, it's dangerous now because you don't know what you're getting. Okay, setting that aside for now, those things I just mentioned, there's nothing demonic about that. That's at least hospitality. I guess it's always a difficult question, like how do you participate in the secular culture and how do you not? Of course, that's a conversation that could go on and on and on because there's no easy answer to that. But Halloween is part of the heritage in North America, going back many, many generations. That's why I'm reluctant to take a fundamentalist, rigid view towards it. But at the same time, we've seen how demonic it becomes. You have to be extremely careful with Halloween. And I would also ask maybe Father Heers or anyone who is religious, maybe not Protestants, but Orthodox or Catholics who have this view towards Halloween. Well, what would you think about gargoyles on cathedrals or demons in frescoes? These are monsters, these are demonic things. Is that demonic for the church to include depictions of monsters and even statuary of monsters? I know Orthodox probably don't do statuary very much, so I don't know if gargoyles are really Orthodox, but they were certainly Roman Catholic. So what would be the attitude? Oh, well, that's different. That's not like Halloween. Well, yeah, but on the spectrum, I don't think that you can ever fully run away from the monsters and the ghosts. I don't think it's bad that children should have some idea that there are monsters, that there are even demons. There are demons. We know that as Christians. I'm not saying that Halloween is a learning experience to teach theology to kids, but it's part of the reality. We all know deep down that there's good in the world, there's evil, there are evil spirits. Sometimes, symbolically through culture, we have occasions in which the monsters kind of come up a little bit and we see them. Now, I know people would say that's pagan and whatever, but not all of paganism actually got erased with Christianity. Some of it was baptized, some of it was rehabilitated, because as long as humans have been on the earth, this has been the order of reality. There's a space into which the monsters come, and we keep them at the edge, okay? We keep them on the edge. We only let them in at certain times. Now, I know many people would disagree and say that you've completely committed a terrible mistake. You're going to be taken over by demons. Well, okay, but if you try to completely cut yourself off and have blank everything, nothing, no light on, in other words, like stay away, our light's off, stay away, don't come here, that's the message you're sending. We're not part of your community. You're sending that message. Sometimes you do have to do that. So again, it's a fine line I have to walk here. If you completely forbid all expression of the monster side of reality, the monsters are going to find a way through. They will find a way through. If you can't bring yourself ever to see monsters through some cultural expression, the monsters will come through. They'll find a way through in a much worse way, in a much more devious way that you can't control. I actually think, ideally, Halloween could be like a pressure release valve for the demonic, if it's handled correctly. But of course, it hasn't been because of the general decline of our times. We've fallen into witchcraft, pagan practices, nature worship, all kinds of evil practices. And therefore, Halloween has been like a sponge, absorbing all of that. Maybe I didn't make a perfect case one way or the other. This was kind of a complicated video because I was basically arguing two different positions in this video. But I hope you had something to gain from this. Hasta luego, amigos!